others. Boo! All right. Okay. Okay, so it is the season finale, episode 12, season 5, Ray Donovan. Now, it's always a little scary on the Ray Donovan show, but tonight's even scarier because we're talking the afterlife. So stick around. We're going to break it down right here, the season finale of Ray Donovan on the AFTERBUZZ TV drama channel.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Nice shot.
So this is one of my very favorite David Bowie songs, Rock and Roll Suicide. So much happens in this episode, but we thought if we were going to end the season, we might as well do it with some whiskey, a la Ray Donovan. So we've got our Jack Daniels. So if things get a little crazy here, you know why.
Blame it on the whiskey.
Blame it on the whiskey. So we're all in costume, of course, but I am not going to tell you my costume. I'm going to let you figure that out. You have about 50 minutes here to figure out exactly why I have eggs on my head. I'll let you work that out, but I am going to tell you that my name is Elysabeth Alfano, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DinnerPartyCHGO, and all my celebrity interviews at thedinnerparty.tv, and then, of course, there's that Facebook thing, so I'm there too, Elysabeth Alfano. You guys, where can we find you, and what are you?
Happy Halloween, everyone. I'm so happy you all tuned in with us tonight. I am a flight attendant.
Yes, I did get that.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at LuluSharTV. And just like Elizabeth, I am on Facebook at Louiza Sharamatyan. So add me.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Goodman. Happy Halloween! In the spirit of Ray Donovan, I am a 1950s, well, I'm going for the 1950s Hollywood actress look.
So
So
you rock it. Yes, you totally rock it.
You went there.
you guys can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Rach Goodman or on Facebook at Rachel Ann Goodman. I just have to say before we go any further into this, Hubby Joe is here. Brandon
Hi,
Mason
Hubby
is
Joe.
here in the chat. Hubby Joe says, "Who wants to go for a swim?"
Oh, Lord. So Happy Joe's getting right into it. Well, okay, I also want people on the live chat to guess what I am, if they can. Okay, but before we go swimming, which is the very end of the episode, we see a lot of Abby just dropping off here. So the season opens, or the episode opens, we're at the funeral of Nathalie James, which is weird already. I think that Ray would be there, and I'm actually surprised that Sam would be there and Doug would be. I mean, I would have thought it would have been her family rather than the Hollywood types. But of course, over the funeral, Ray sees Abby, and she's so stiff. Did you guys notice that?
She was stiff, but also I think what they want to do is they are showing us finally how Ray is slowly letting her go. He's chasing a ghost now, and by the end of the episode, we do see that she does kind of go away. But I don't like how it opened it. It was too much Abby.
Well, and here's the thing.
Already, to starting off with too
yeah.
much Abby.
And I thought that it was kind of foreshadowing too, because she falls off a cliff.
Right.
So before he even gets to the funeral. So I sort of liked how they did it. We were talking about this before the show. There's certain things they did throughout the season that I didn't particularly like, but that moment with Abby and what ends up happening with Abby, I do like, because it would have felt like something was missing if we didn't have Abby one more time in this finale.
Right, sure. For the finale, I figured she'd show up, which of course makes a lot of sense. But what's interesting about this episode is, you know, we have all these different storylines going on, and usually those storylines are happening in tandem. But here, it's really Ray is at the center of the wheel, and everything spokes out from there. So, again, we start with this funeral, and I knew right away the way that he and Sam were getting along and looking at each other. I thought, okay, these two are back in business. Right.
And it was just beautiful how when Ray says, "Hey, I need a favor," she was on it.
Yes.
She was like, "I thought you would never ask."
Yes, right.
No,
yes, she couldn't
but-
wait
no
to get into bed
questions.
together,
I'm
quote
bouncing,
unquote.
I will handle
Yes.
it.
But I knew she would expect him to give her a favor in return, even in that
Brilliant.
moment. Yeah, and here's the thing. Ray had to have known, too. It was very obvious.
Yes, I thought so too. That almost played too easily for me.
Yeah.
And I knew the words out of her mouth would be like, okay, when are you killing Doug?
I
Basically.
mean, of course, even when they go to New York and that beautiful, delicate scene where they just drive by the hotel and all she says is, "Oh, that's where Doug is staying." That's, you know what I mean?
Well, that's where Doug stays.
Doug stays, yes.
Right before he tells the people that he's taking over my company.
Hint, hint,
at
wink,
the board.
wink.
Yes, and how horrible would that be?
Yeah.
Yes. So, let's talk more about Ray, and then we'll just talk about everybody sort of around Ray. So, what did you feel about Ray going after Doug, which comes later in the episode? But
He had to do it, I think. He finally looks good in front of Bridget. And that has a lot to do with Sam. He wants to protect that.
yes, so it was great to see him finally do what I thought he should have done 3 episodes ago, which was get Smitty back into that program.
Yeah.
And I've always been wondering, you have the power because you basically can do anything. I mean, yes, you can ask Sam to do it for you, or you can pull lots of other strings. You have the power. Why aren't you doing this?
And I think it shows, too, how much he actually does care about Bridget. When Terry said, yeah, you saw how much he loved Abby, well, he loves Bridget even more.
love that
It is
scene.
such, what his actions showed is that basically, yeah, he would do anything to help his daughter. And just the fact that he knew that's the angle he had to play at this point. So I figured he'd be willing to kill Doug over getting back into Bridget's good graces.
At this point, he has done everything. And we also see him kind of losing a son. He is enlisting in the Marines. Right?
I thought that was a really interesting scene.
Yeah.
So Connor is basically doing everything in the name of his father, just so Ray can see him as his equal. And you never do that for a parent. You live your life for yourself. And
Yeah.
it was hard for me to watch him throwing his life away because I don't think the Marines is really his decision.
Well, it's interesting because he says, "What do you think of me?" And Ray says, "I don't, you're my son." And he says, "Yes, I know, but what do you think of me? You don't really think very highly of me. You think I forget the exact words.
Weak.
You think I'm weak.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back here and you're going to work for me." And I was really struck by that because everyone seems to have this chip on their shoulder about what a leader Ray is. And I'm not sure why that is, because he's such a clear leader in a way that other people can't be, in a way that Connor never will be. So it was strange.
Everyone calls Ray.
And in
That's
that
why.
scene too, I kind of felt like I felt like Ray was seeing himself through Connor's eyes too, because Connor, I can only imagine that Mickey probably had a very similar conversation, not about the Marines, but I'm sure they had a very, similar conversation in the sense that Ray probably said, "Hey, I'm going to basically come back and you're going to work for me, or I'm going to be the one in charge."
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was taking it.
So I didn't see that at all. And the reason is, even as a young kid, I imagine Ray to be so much stronger than Connor. And Connor, I'm not saying is weak, but he's a little bit spoiled. He's grown up with wealth and he's gone to the right schools and he plays with guns. We saw a couple episodes ago he had a gun and they were goofing around and made a terrible mistake. So he's really a suburban kid. And I don't think Ray was ever that. So I don't see them as similar.
This is the episode where we see Ray truly cracking. We see
Yes.
tidbits from his past, from his childhood, and even that scene with the therapist when that glimpse of the priest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
too disturbing.
That was so
That was
disturbing.
so, and I wonder if everybody in the chat thought this was
Did
about.
you
That's
guys
the
think
weirdest
that was
thing that they've
crazy?
done all season.
And here's the thing. I think that's the weirdest thing they've done in the entire show.
We haven't
Yeah,
seen
okay.
that
but
yet. Yeah.
it was also right when someone is saying, trust me, that's when Ray sees this image. And the thing is, obviously the therapist knows that Ray is in much deeper than what Ray's willing to admit. Obviously, he can see, he works with so many people, he knows that Ray is bottling all this up.
PTSD.
But Ray is not. I think you had said this a couple shows ago about how that was not the right therapist for Ray, which is probably true. But he also does need someone. He needs a therapist that could actually break through and
Well, I
help
think,
him.
like the therapist says, he needs so much. He needs a
Yeah.
therapist, he needs group therapy, he needs drugs, he needs all of it, and he needs it for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think he's continuing it though. He's done in LA.
Yeah.
I think
going to
he's
New York.
done with that therapist, he's done with in LA, and he's done with Zoloft. What I did think, though, that scene with Liev was the strongest I've ever seen him play, Ray Donovan, when he says, "I think I'm over my anger management now." And you could see, like, the way he was saying it, he was so boiling underneath, and yet he had to keep a demeanor such that the therapist would let him out of his office. So he was almost not capable of breathing. He had to keep the anger so subsided. And it was
It
interesting.
was an awkward scene for me to watch. That's how good they were.
Yes, right.
So awkward. Huge elephant in the room. The silence was loud.
Yes,
It was like
yes.
one of those suspenseful scenes. Like, Ray, give him something more. Poor guy.
yes.
It's like getting water out of a rock.
Yes, but I almost felt like Ray couldn't breathe in that room.
Yeah. And we do have a couple of comments, too. So Brandon Mason says, no doubt the weirdest thing. Hubby Joe says, extremely weird, trust me.
Right.
Bedro Dog says, trust me is a PTL trigger for Ray, or PTSD, I think he meant, yeah. So I definitely see that too.
Right.
Yeah, that's like the one word you don't say to Ray, because obviously someone did say trust me when he was a kid, and that
Maybe.
did.
And maybe Mickey as well, right?
Yeah.
But there's another thing about that short but important scene with the therapist where the therapist says, you must forgive yourself for what other people have done to you. And your way of going through the world is to blame yourself for what others have done for you. That way you can control it and you don't feel like a victim. And so this theme, and we see it in the airplane with Sam, when Sam looks at his baby picture of, can you forgive yourself?
But that
Yeah.
baby picture had a note on the back that said "Forgive
Give
yourself,"
yourself.
which was
Yeah.
written by Abby before she
You
died.
thought it was from Abby?
Absolutely.
I think so
It was
too.
that box.
That's what I took it as, yeah.
It was the cigarette. It was the
Yes.
necklace he gave her,
Yes.
and it was that picture with that note in the back that said "Forgive yourself." And he held on to that. He put it inside his inner pocket.
So I thought that was from his mother, because we had
No.
seen a scene earlier when he finds his mother and
What is our chat room thing?
yeah,
You
but
think it's
and the
Abby
mother
or
looks
the mother?
like Abby to me. At first I was like, oh, it's
See,
Abby.
I
Interesting.
thought at first that it was Abby's mother, because I couldn't tell if
the
it was
difference,
a,
yeah.
I'm
and
not even go
the
that far.
picture, it was such a young child, I couldn't tell if it was a male or female child,
Right.
and because longer hair, so
Yes.
I was like, is
Curls,
it Abby?
yeah.
So then when the flashback happened, at first I thought maybe that's Abby's mother. Of course, it was through Ray's point of view, so I guess I should have picked up on that, but it did have a resemblance to Abby, even though it's obviously not her mother.
And we knew that box would come back.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
3 episodes
Yes,
after.
Yes.
Because, we said to ourselves, what is Abby doing with that box before she dies?
Right.
And now we know. And also, this episode kind of put a few puzzle pieces together as to why Ray really despises Mickey.
So it didn't for me.
I have an idea on that.
it didn't
because-
for me either.
No, because they kept
I
saying,
don't know why.
I want to hear what you have to say. I'll just say, at some point they were talking about to Darryl, trying to convince him to give up the gun, and we'll talk about Darryl in a second, our favorite pooch, because I didn't think he would give it up. But okay, he says, Mickey's a rat. He'll always rat on you. And I thought, okay, that's something, but it's not enough to be as scarred as you are.
I agree. I didn't think, first of all, I still think we don't know the real reason. Mickey being a rat, it's not gonna make Ray go out of his way to put Mickey back in jail all of these years.
Right.
So I didn't see it. I don't know why, unless it is just a bunch of different things that there's too much to talk about. But I feel like we don't really know. And if there is one single reason, then I don't.
So-
But Louisa knows.
So this is why, and this is what I think.
Okay.
When Ray was sexually assaulted by the priest, he said in previous episodes that I told Mickey and Mickey didn't take me seriously and he didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Till this day, he will never forgive his father. Because I think Mickey said something like, forget about it, or something along those lines.
You're crazy.
And for that scene during the therapy session, that flashback, to see the priest sitting there saying, trust me, Ray. It just, for me, that's what.
So I thought it was
stood
something
for.
similar to that. Maybe he was saying, as a kid, I went to my dad, and my dad basically turned on me.
Exactly. He probably
yeah.
said, trust me, it will be okay. Or
Right,
the priest said, trust me, and all of that. So till this day.
We have some people in the chat commenting. So Brandon Mason says, I'm with y'all. I thought it was Abby or Ray's sister, but I could not have been more wrong. Bedro Dog says, I think Abby wrote it. Hubby Joe says, I thought it was from Ray's mom.
Oh yeah.
Brandon Mason, after 5 seasons, we need to know what Mickey did to Ray. I agree.
I agree. I gotta know. It's driving me crazy.
And then Bedro Dog says, I would like to know if that was a picture of Liev as a kid, because he did have long hair. Huh. And then Brandon Mason also says, what Louisa said makes sense 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
It does make sense.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that, and then I do want to get back to Smitty and Susan Sarandon and Doug Landry.
Yeah.
So much to talk about there, but let's talk about Darryl and Pooch and Mickey and how that all went down. So I did not think that Darryl was going to give up the gun.
I didn't think he was going to abandon Mickey. I could see he was teetering on whether or not he was going to do it, but then when he got to the river and he couldn't throw the gun away, I was like, I don't know. And then, because I just don't see him, I see him as wanting to get his father's respect, and I don't see that connection with Ray the same way I see his connection with Mickey. So I did not think he was gonna do what he did. But after he spoke with Jay, and Jay was like, yeah, here you go, here's your office if you do as I ask. Then I was thinking, all right, maybe Darryl may not be really close with Ray, but maybe he's just starting to see in general that Mickey's not really pro Darryl either.
Darryl saw the Hollywood life that he wanted, and he got just sugared in, basically. So right before he was going to do what he was going to do with the gun, Jay presented this life to him. Come with me. I know too much about you. You know too much about me. I will take care of you. Look at the life that you will have as a producer. He got emotionally attached because that's how Darryl is in some situations.
I thought it was a combination therein. So here's the life I want, and here's what being with Mickey has given me. Grief and turmoil, and everyone hates him.
A racist
Bunchy
father.
says, don't stand up for Mickey. Okay, so you don't want to turn him in? Fine, throw the gun in the river. But don't tell the truth on Mickey's behalf, because, so everyone's saying, like, all Mickey does is cause you grief. In fact, Mickey's not that great to Darryl.
No.
We've often commented on that. So I think he finally just realized, like, why would I be with this losing horse again?
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Well, and I feel like Darryl is the most normal of all the brothers.
Yes.
So I feel like he's going to make the most rational decision. And so him saying no, like what Mickey's doing, I feel like he finally was like, no, what Mickey's doing is wrong. The way he's been treating me is wrong, and I don't want that anymore. And I think that's why he's going to go that path of, you know what, I'm going to try and, live the best life I can live.
And good, because we see Darryl's character develop a bit more.
Okay.
This is his season.
But once again, something that's always hard for me is, yes, Mickey's wrong a lot of the time, but he actually didn't kill Frank. That was actually Darryl.
Yeah.
And he didn't kill Sully.
Again in prison for a crime he did not commit.
Frank. Or
No,
Mickey.
Mickey.
Yes, Mickey. That's right. So we get to Mickey in jail, and he starts turning everything on Ray.
On everything.
Can't take it anymore.
Every murder that's
Can
ever
we just
taken
shout
place,
out that
yes.
bathroom scene with
Why?
the FBI agent
Yeah.
with his
With his
matches,
handy wipes?
his lotion, his tweezers? How funny was that scene? I just have to say.
And see, I was wondering if there was a point for it.
OCD.
I was waiting.
Clean
and then-
freak.
Yeah, but why should? Can you? I was like, can you show us another way?
I paused it. I'm so I'm obsessed with details like that. So when that scene came on, I paused it and I had to
Count everything that he
Vaseline,
had.
lotion, baby wipes, matches, like
the baby
matches,
wipes,
like
yes, I know.
so funny.
Well, and then I thought the same was true, because we're talking about details, of the tab can. Because this is taking place in
the what?
2017. The tab
Yeah.
can. Can you even get a tab in 2017?
Apparently.
I think they had to. I think that was like Mickey's special request.
Yeah.
Because he's so old. Because I thought, I haven't seen that can since the 70s.
Yeah, and at one point he had two
Tabs?
tabs right in front of him.
Wait,
Yeah.
tabs. What is that?
The,
I'm
it's
lost.
a soda.
It's a soda.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know what that is.
Tab, it's the 0 calorie.
Okay, do
Yeah.
not judge me. I don't know what that is.
The original
The
diet
original
soda.
diet soda. The original diet soda, right, yeah. Okay, so incredible. And this, of course, makes for good setting up of season 6. That there's this
York,
Mickey.
here we come.
Well, New York and LA. So Darryl's going to be in LA. Bunchy, who gets the bar, and the dog. The dog's back.
And the daughter. I'm happy.
And the daughter.
And the daughter, right?
You
and
leave.
Yes, yeah. And he sticks up for himself and tells Teresa to
And
leave. which
it
is
wasn't
great.
even that hard either. He just had to say it once, and she's like,
Oh, yeah.
Please,
Okay.
she wanted
I knew
that.
she was like going to skip right out of there, but I thought he also played that well.
Yeah.
So well. Yeah.
And he wants to really spice up that bar with adding the Addams
Pinball.
Family pinball machine, which is a bit trivia for you guys. The Addams Family pinball machine is the best seller one yet. It's the most famous pinball
That's what
machine.
he was saying in the show,
Yeah.
that it is what the Mona Lisa is to the Renaissance,
Exactly.
the Addams Family is to pinball. So
And he has money and he wants to invest, and
Yes.
I love it. And the bartender is so on his side.
well, suddenly he's warmed up to him. Mr. like too cool
I'm
for
an
school.
actor. I need to
is-
go
yeah.
feed my cat.
We have another comment.
Oh, great.
Beedro Dog says Darryl wants to be accepted as a brother to Ray, but still feels left out.
And I wonder if he doesn't find a home. Since you're talking about being a brother, I'm wondering if he doesn't find a home.
Jay is
with
his
Jay
home.
White. Do you know what I
Jay
mean?
is
Like
gonna
he's
be
sort of
his brother.
He's never felt like the White brothers accepted him. He's had this talk with Mickey a bunch. Like, you're never going to see me as your own. Mickey doesn't respect him, doesn't treat him that great. Kind of does treat him like a second-class child. So maybe he's found like, okay, I'm with my people.
And Mickey, can I? Oh, sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but Mickey always plays his black women card.
I love it.
And says,
wait,
I love all you
Well,
black people,
no, he says, like,
especially
I'm
the
in good
black
with-
female.
Yes. Well, I think he says like I'm in good with the black community.
I don't kill any black people.
I don't kill black people. Yeah.
Which I thought would make it worse for him. I was like,
Yeah.
but I actually feel like Jay gives Darryl way more respect anyway.
I love
so
it.
I was,
Shout out, yeah.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
very happy with the way that turned out, and the fact that Darryl is going to get that office. I was like, yeah, good
And
for
he
you.
did get that
I'll
office.
go
They
set it
showed-
up,
yeah.
and yeah, so
Yeah.
that's great. So he's all set there. Well, so let's go back to the crux of what's going on here. So Ray asks Sam to pull all the strings, and she does to get Smitty in the program.
Need some candy.
So apparently, yes, it's Halloween. people.
Halloween, candy.
I've got my vegan candy, by the way.
We have some whiskey over here.
And vegan dots, vegan Twizzlers are vegan, Jolly Ranchers are vegan. Okay, so she does, and she goes. She like no holds barred. She pulls the funding, and she gets the doctor booted out.
That was
and
brilliant.
really fast. I love her.
Like-
Susan Sarandon goes to town,
Yeah.
and that was great. So they immediately take Smitty into what is like the basement clinic. So we're basically in the underground where you can get your shoes shined and you can get brain surgery. I didn't get it. Where do you think they were? The basement of a hospital?
That's yeah.
Okay.
That's what it looked like to me. I found it especially interesting when they were actually doing the surgery.
That he was awake.
That he was awake, and I asked my husband, I was like, why would they do this like this? And he was like, well, apparently if a patient has a stroke in certain situations, they have to be awake so that if they are having a stroke, like you have to check on them. So yeah, they can't be sleeping during certain operations. Yeah.
Wow. I don't
Well,
want to be in
isn't
that
it-
situation.
No.
I think it's common for brain surgeries to keep the patient awake.
I
think
did
that's
not
saw
know
a movie
that.
before,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just really happy also, speaking of Sam Winslow, that she's going to continue with us to season 6.
Yes.
So happy.
Yes,
It would
that
make
she'll be with
sense.
us in
Because
here.
we didn't get enough of her at all.
Although we're not sure, because now with Doug Landry being dead, and we'll talk about that in just a second, he doesn't get her West Coast properties. So she's going to have a pull back to LA.
But she seems like she gets
Is a
back and
New Yorker.
forth.
and
Yes.
George
Yeah.
is coming back. Believe me, I'm
Yes,
sure George
right.
will come back. I
Yes.
love his character.
Yes,
He's
yes.
weird, and he has all
Yes.
these great movie trivia facts.
Right. Yeah. So George will come back. And a shout out to Susan Sarandon, who always looks
Woohoo!
great. Her hair looks great. I love that blazer that she's wearing. She looks fantastic.
Okay, just to say this, do we think she has a crush on Ray?
The character. Oh.
I think
Sam Winslow, the character.
yeah.
I think she is attracted to
Yeah.
strong, powerful people.
I think there's something there.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm excited.
So you think Ray would actually be with someone his age?
Maybe mid
She might.
season.
He's even older than him.
Mid-6th season, I think he might. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, that would be real development for you, Ray. So I'd like to see it.
I don't know. I don't take her like that. I take
I
it
do.
like I take it like she's a dangerous woman in a certain level of power, and
Yes.
she knows that he's an asset to her, and so
Yes.
he's a good friend to have. And I feel like Ray knows that she's a good friend to have, at least for the second. But yeah, for her, I don't think it's.
We'll
I don't think
find
it's
out.
romantic.
We'll find out.
So he gets brain surgery, which seems to go well. Apparently, of course, there's lots of aftermath to surgery. But so the woman that Bridget held up, the doctor,
Sharon Bernstein
goes to Bridget and says, I think it went well. And Terry's there with Bridget because Ray has already left, but they're
do the
very excited.
Well, and even that, I don't think we already mentioned this. Maybe we did, about how Ray basically said to Terry, "Hey, can you take care of Bridget?" And I know we were talking about this too before the show, and I basically took that like Ray was saying, "I'm gone forever after this."
I kind of got that too for a second.
So I didn't. I figured he was like, I gotta go kill Doug Landry now.
Well,
yeah.
I thought that he was either saying, I'm done, I'll be gone forever, then he was going to go kill himself, or I took it like he knew he was going to do something really stupid when he killed Doug, and he would get caught, and he'd be sent away somewhere and wouldn't be back.
You're onto something, because he did go, after all, and drown himself in the pool, or the river.
I think he knew.
And we don't know if that's a real scene. For some reason, I feel like that's like this weird edited thing.
Yeah.
Or is he really in there? Just, like, what are you doing, Ray? Come on.
So I thought he either... we were talking about this too
Yeah?
before, and
Where was I?
So basically, this is the problem, and I'm sorry we're jumping to the ending, but my problem with the ending is that when he jumped, I feel like he would have landed on concrete, the way that they had it laid out, number one. Number two, I'm kind of with you. I'm not sure if it actually was real or if he was imagining it. And the whole thing, like, he's going to wake up on the park bench and go home.
Well, what I liked about it said to me more about Abby than it said to me about him. So I sort of felt this was his final letting go of Abby, that every time he looked at her, she kept falling backwards. So, when Terry says, Ray, there's nothing I could do, she was in so much pain, she wanted to go. Ray's finally starting to process this, because every time he gets close to her, she chooses to go. So I think he's realizing that he couldn't stop it. And also, I was wondering, now is Abby beckoning to him? Come with me.
That's what I thought too.
I wasn't sure about that. And then, they're so very Catholic, or at least brought up Catholic. So when you douse yourself in water, you are going through baptism. So I wondered if this is his cleansing of his soul or forgiving of himself, starting anew for season 6.
Adding to that, that's a great way to look at it. But adding to that, I think in life you have to hit rock bottom.
Yes.
And you have to go into such a dark place to kind of start over again. That's what this episode was all about.
And I think that I love that idea, and it would be great if Ray just kind of did allow himself to be forgiven. But I kind of think that when Sam Winslow said, sometimes we just don't want to be forgiven, I think that's Ray's situation. I don't think that this is going to change him. I think when we pick up in season 6, I think he's going to be exactly where he was when we left off, with maybe even more problems and just things that he has to deal with. Or
he's going to start doing dirty work for all of Sam's clients.
Right, because that was
that
was a strange scene, very quick, where there's a TMZ on Ray Donovan that is forcing Ray Donovan's clients to say, like, hey, this is too spicy for me, I'm getting out. So he's losing all these clients in LA, which makes you wonder, okay, I guess, it's time to leave LA.
Yeah.
And is he going to start a client roster in New York now that Sam's, saying this killing went well? So
speaking of New York, let's dabble about Doug and that scene.
Right. Okay. So we were talking about how it's all the sexual innuendo. So that new woman who is replacing Nathalie James, she comes right out of his hotel room, and he's just finished having. Well, she looks weird to me in general.
Like forced to do what she had to do.
And you were
disgusted with herself.
Disgusted.
Yes.
You were saying earlier about how you thought they may have rewritten that scene
for the wine scene.
I wondered if they rewrote it for everything that's going on with hotel rooms and
parallels
Weinstein.
Are great.
Yes,
I don't think they did, because I remember someone saying earlier on, like, it just happened to be a coincidence what ends up happening. So
I don't know. A lot of shows are doing that. Will and Grace just added a
scene. Well, it's interesting.
I feel like Will and Grace, though, it's a little bit close. Like, it's a little different how they shoot that. So I feel like something like this would have been shot already. But I could be wrong.
Maybe because so many people in Hollywood did already know, maybe they didn't have to reshoot. Maybe without calling out Harvey,
it's known as, like,
they
a big
knew
secret,
this is how it goes down when you're a big studio head.
Yeah,
it's beautiful, and it's a great catalyst right now for us women.
Yes.
The issue is just up there, it's out, it's bright, and I'm just happy that it happened the way it did.
That Doug got killed.
That Doug got killed. The Weinstein issue being absolutely,
and more are coming forward all the time.
Yeah.
We're getting off of Ray Donovan, but talking about Harvey, and more is happening all the time.
And the thing is, Ray Donovan's whole story is it's Hollywood, it's celebrities, it's actresses. There's no way they would let this one go.
Here's the thing too, is that not to continue with Harvey Weinstein, but
let's continue with Weinstein.
It's not just LA either. It's definitely New York.
New York, absolutely.
It's Pennsylvania. It's all over.
It's Google, and it's
Amazon.
Yes, right. Google and Amazon and Screen Junkies and you name it. Basically, you name it. So, lots to talk about there.
#me too.
But when Doug,
And we have a reveal. Hold on.
When Doug did get killed that way, yeah, I did not feel any sympathy for him.
No.
Even though we didn't know too much about him, but just from what we did know, yeah, I didn't feel
It was just
anything.
hard for me to see him in that character, because the beginning of season 5, he was just so, nice, friendly, and all of that. His face doesn't match his character for me. I don't know why. Maybe because I've seen him so much on House of Cards as this nice little president. So, I don't know.
So
I can ramble. Okay.
Okay, Vitro Dog says showrunner said it was already filmed.
Oh,
Okay, thanks,
I
Pedro.
love how
Yeah.
our
Love
fans
that.
know. Thank you.
Love it.
And Vitro Dog also says it will come back to haunt Ray that it's a question. Will it come back to haunt Ray that the actress saw him?
Did the actress see him?
She did see him,
Definitely.
and because she
How
was
come
trying
I
to
don't know
hide
that?
her face.
Yeah,
as she
looked
got into the
humiliated.
elevator.
Wait,
She
how
looked.
come I don't know this?
We saw each
coming
other,
through
yeah.
when she was coming out of Doug's room in the hallway, right before she caught the elevator. They saw each other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I know that. I just thought you two meant she was inside the room. I'm sorry.
And
we
she
believe that she was coming out of Doug's room.
she had to have known who he was too, because he was all over that
TMZ.
faux TMZ.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the small little details I wish the show would give us. Don't they? Okay, Ray's, he did his deed. His walking downstairs is going home or going to his hotel room, right? But then as a viewer, you think, that's just too easy. In and out, hotel lobby. He's a big, huge Hollywood exec. It just, is that easy to go into someone's room?
I wondered about that.
I wonder.
I wondered about the room, and the other thing is he was with Nathalie. And in LA, they were all over him for that. They recognized him. They would recognize him in New York, too.
Absolutely.
So that is a
Yes.
question. Plus, him being able to get into the room.
How did he even know the room?
and
Yeah.
just one white, rule belt. Like, he is a trained professional.
I
Yes.
believed that part of it. It's just actually getting in that I was a little bit like,
Getting in, getting out.
And I also felt like you felt when Ray jumped into the water. I was like, I don't know if he would actually make the water.
because they showed it the way that I'm not sure exactly where that hotel was that they walked up to the roof, but the way they showed the bench, there was a lot of concrete before you got to buildings, and when he jumped into that general area, because at the end you kind of saw the benches again.
Right.
So
And you said you think season 6 might open up with him on the bench visualizing absolutely
or something else. Here's the other thing too, is that almost every time that he's seen Abby, with like a few exceptions, especially when she was walking in the street, it's actually been someone else, but he's seeing Abby. Not all the time, but I almost wonder too if he really was just following a real person. And
To the top of the roof?
I don't know. I don't know if because it's kind of weird how they set that up, because sometimes it is just an imagination and it's not anyone, but sometimes it is someone.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see, how
Who it is,
it is, if it was anyone. But I really think that we're gonna open up and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, I just here I am on the bench.
Well, here's what I don't want to see in season 6. I don't want to have him episode 1 having an affair with the new actress
Blonde woman?
of. Yes, and I forget
No,
the name
Waterfall.
of the new actress.
that
Waterfall.
would turn me off from the show.
I truly hope that because I'm
No,
sort of
don't.
tired of Ray just picking
Not
up
do
every
that.
little nymph that flies through.
How about Sharon Bernstein? She seems like she could
you
hold
think
her own.
you're-
think
I don't
that?
know. You keep
I
thinking
don't know
that.
if they
I
are
don't
right
know.
now, but
Right.
I'd like to see that.
Ray always has that weird sexual tension with
I don't
these
think it
powerful
could be
women.
with Sharon. She's just too clean.
Yeah, but-
women who have to be a little bit dirtier
You would
around
be
the edges.
surprised.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. All right, so we will see. Let's talk about predictions. Oh, wait, before we talk about predictions, so Terry seems to have made some peace, and he is back at the gym with Damon, and he's let the father stay.
So
and that
happy
seems to
on
be like a
that.
nice track. Now that he's got Bridget and Smitty through what they needed, it seems like he has a little bit of peace there, and he's back to boxing. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did. We covered everyone, and now we just want to wait for season 6.
Season 6. So predictions, people. Predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
And if anyone in the chat too, if they
Has
have
predictions,
yeah.
yes.
Okay, well,
Rachel?
me, I think it's gonna, when we open up on scene 1, it's gonna be Ray sitting on a
Yes.
bench.
Oh,
It would be, I'm gonna be curious if that was like the end of Abby, if we're ever gonna see her in these flashbacks or these dreams where she's haunting Ray. I'll be curious if that happens. I want to see more with boxing again with Terry, since it was
Shout
such a
out
big,
Dominique.
yeah.
Yes.
I really want to see what happens with Darryl. I really hope that he has an even bigger part come season 6, because now he's kind of like this guy who is kind of up there in LA. So,
Right.
and then with Bunchy, I just, I know that he gets taken advantage of so easily. So I hope that him running this bar with no one else around him to kind of supervise, I hope that doesn't go badly.
Bunchy, I think, is going to be an underdog. He is going to run that place like no other. He's going to invest his heart and his money into it, especially because now he's going to be single. He's going to be a father and all that, like a single father.
Got that great dog.
Yeah. But just to, think about season 6, I want to see more of Mickey, but I have an inkling. I do know Mickey's going to try to do whatever it takes to get Ray back. I want to explore that more. I want to know more of why Ray hates Mickey.
Yes.
And Bridget and Smitty, I want to know if that's going to last or it's this weird temporary rebound vulnerable moment that she's having.
If Smitty even lives, because
Do we think he's not going to
So
make
that
it?
was my thing. I'm not sure that Smitty's going to live. He
Yeah.
might, but I'm not sure about that. I do think Terry's going to go on to do some great boxing, and that our dear Damon's going to be back, which is going to be so wonderful. And he's back next week. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. I, of course, want to see Ray and Mickey, but no one's going to put Mickey away. He just gets out of jail all the time. So there's going to be like the 18th life of Mickey. So he will
Like a cat.
come back, and I'm wondering if Darryl will make his movie now that he's in a position to, as a way of making up
The poster
to him.
was on the wall framed.
right. Lucky Mr. Lucky.
Mr.
Yeah.
Lucky.
So I'm wondering if that might be a relationship that now that Darryl has some actual power, he might get more respect out of Mickey, and they might be able to work something out there as a way of like, I'm sorry, I threw you in jail.
Speaking of Darryl, let's not forget Darryl's wife is married to an executive producer in Hollywood. I mean, Darryl's mom in Palm
Oh.
Springs.
Yeah.
Right? We forgot about that, but I have this feeling he's going to revisit his
Why
family.
didn't that come up earlier when Mickey wanted to make a movie?
Mickey wanted to do some stuff, and he got in trouble with the husband.
Oh,
he
yes,
was very
right. That's
inappropriate,
right.
his Mickey
That's
ways.
right, yes.
But I have this
So that could come
feeling-
full circle.
Yeah. They're going to run into each other. The small town.
Well, and what I'd like to see for Bunchy is I really want to see that character finally having fun. Just getting some joy out of life. And if it's from pinball machines, that's fantastic. So I hope that he really has a great time with the bar and goes,
And not storing cash in duffel bags.
well, he probably won't totally learn, but
We have a prediction in the chat,
yes,
too.
we'll take it.
So Brandon Mason, he said 2 things. 1, yes, I agree with Elizabeth. Ray shouldn't get with that actress. And 2, his prediction is that Ray will now be working for Sam. Mickey somehow gets out of jail and seeks revenge, of course. And Bunchy finally gets his life together.
Oh, yay!
That would
Bunchy,
be
yay!
awesome.
Yay,
I want
Bunchy, yay! Well, all right, people. So when does season 6 come out? We might be a little while before we're together again.
Google to our savior.
Yes.
Rachel will let us know.
Yes,
just in a
Rachel's
few
going to let us
seconds.
know. But, so while we're waiting for that, I'll say that just because season 5 is over doesn't mean we're going anywhere.
Nope,
we do
still
not
here.
want to leave you. So November 7th, a week from today, we're going to have a bonus episode. And we're going to have Pooch Hall back in the house. We know him and we love him. Pooch Hall is here. And Dominique Columbus, our Damon, our boxer, he's going to be
boxer.
back with us too. So we're going to have a special bonus kind of recapping the entire season next Tuesday, November 7th with Pooch Hall
Yeah,
and
we're
Dominique
excited.
Columbus.
It's gonna be fun.
There's no official release date,
Okay.
but filming begins in early 2018 for season
Okay.
6.
Oh, in
fall.
New York.
Again,
yes,
next year,
probably
fall,
next
yeah.
fall.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are just about to sign off, but before we do, have you guessed it yet, people?
I'm clueless.
Did we guess what you were holding?
No one in the chat? Like,
No.
no one can put this together? Okay,
So you have
does it help you if I'm a breakfast item?
Yeah.
Well, all I see are eggs.
Omelet. Omelet.
I am eggs over easy.
Oh,
Please, you guys, why couldn't you get that? I love this costume.
Liv, did you make that up? Like, or did you? Is that an idea? 'Cause
I
that's
did.
creative.
I did steal it from someone because I thought it was so creative.
Oh
that
my
play on
God.
words. Yes, I'm on, and of course I'm vegan, so these are flax eggs. But eggs over easy. That's my Halloween. People, it was great to have you with us for all of
I
season
know.
5. We will be here for a bonus November 7th. Until then, I'm Elysabeth Alfano. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DinnerPartyCHGO, all my celeb interviews at thedinnerparty.tv, and I'm on Facebook at Elysabeth Alfano. Ladies, where can they find you?
This was such an amazing season, and I'm so glad to have next week to kind of dig deep a bit more. My name is Louiza Sharamatyan. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at LuluSharTV and on Facebook at Louiza Sharamatyan.
And I'm Rachel Goodman. I just want to say, Brandon has one more comment. He said, that's creative, your costume. So I figured I'd say that. But you guys, it's been awesome. I really enjoyed being on the panel and discussing Ray and all his complexities. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Rach Goodman or on Facebook at Rachel Ann Goodman. I'm also the host of the AfterBuzz Young and Restless show on Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm on the Outlander panel with AfterBuzz right after that at 6 p.m.
That's amazing.
Wonderful. I'm also on the Saturday Night Live panel that is going to be this Sunday, November 5th. We are 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you are on another show as well.
I was filling in for the Netflix news show, which is every Sunday at 7 p.m. So if you are a Netflix fanatic like me, or you want to know what's great on Netflix, go and check that out. Netflix News Sunday at 7 p.m.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week for the bonus.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.